Welcome to day 55 of a happy new day. 12 steps applied to COVID-19, presented by the Free to Hope with Edwina B. That's me, y'all. Using the 12 steps customized by Alcoholics Anonymous over 80 plus years ago. I've been a proud and humble member for over 30 plus years, one day at a time. So I do come to you with some experience, strength, hope, and wisdom regarding the 12 steps that are grounded in spiritual principles to practice them, apply them in all our affairs, even COVID-19. Yes. I and 7 members of my family contracted and survived COVID-19 back in November, December of 2020. As a result of contracting and surviving COVID-19, the Creator decided that I need to share with you how I did not apply the 12 steps spiritual principles to COVID-19, knowing that I had the information and have been practicing them for over 30 plus years. Why? Because I was defiant, I was rebellious, I had an idea of being invincible. I did not like anybody telling me what to do, what to wear, who to socialize with. Yes. And you know what? As a result of contracting and surviving COVID-19, it is my obligation to sit before you to have this recovery conversation on how you cannot make the same mistake I and others have. Because we know that others have not met the same outcome of COVID-19 like members of my family and I have. So therefore, I am so happy, so grateful that he breathed life into me this morning. I can breathe. I can breathe. You can breathe, obviously. And the Creator breathed life into you this morning, decided to wake you up this morning, decided to wake me up this morning so that you and I can have this conversation to share the experience, strength, hope, wisdom, lack of wisdom, choices, decisions, both bad and good, regarding COVID-19. How we as an individual, as a family, as a culture, as a community, a city, state, country, can be a part of the solution to decrease the perpetuation of COVID-19. How? By applying these 12 steps that are spiritual in nature. And as a result of others not being chosen to wake up this morning, those who are presently dealing with loved ones who they have lost from COVID-19, those of us who are suffering from COVID-19, of us who are intervening on others with COVID-19, those of us who want to prevent from contracting COVID-19, and those of us who are still in defiance and have that rebellious nature, attitudes, ideas, and behaviors regarding COVID-19. Therefore, I ask that you join me, similar to what we do in our 12-step program of Alcoholics Anonymous, in a 30-second moment of silence to give homage to our Creator, who knows the beginning, the middle, and the end of this COVID-19. And we as a human race, simultaneously around the world, are dealing with the impact, the effect, the outcomes, and the fatalities, and the increase of COVID-19. Join me for 30 seconds of silence. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Those who have transitioned on their behalf, I say thank you. Those who are unable to say thank you, who are left behind, I want to say thank you. Thank you for giving 30 seconds of silence, because there, by the grace of God, there go I, my loved ones, my culture, my community, my city, my state, my country. If we, like in the 12 Steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, recognize that all human beings are ill to some extent and that all human beings can benefit from the wisdom of the 12-step programs. They include Narcotics Anonymous, Gamblers Anonymous, Al-Anon Anonymous, Workaholics Anonymous, Sex Anonymous. What about COVID Anonymous? Yes, we can apply these same spiritual principles to COVID-19. And one of the doctors that I mention a lot on this presentation, morning conversation, that ignited this recovery presentation and conversation regarding the 12 steps was Dr. James T. Allison. He wrote an article back in March of 2020 in Psychology Today, and the caption read, "How we can benefit from the wisdom of 12-step programs as we combat COVID-19 during the month of April." And through my experience of doing the 12-step program, one day at a time for over 30 plus years, my creator say, now is your opportunity to present the 12 steps as we combat this COVID-19 pandemic, starting April the 1st. I read the article on March the 31st, and I pushed that button at 6 o'clock a.m. April 1st, the beginning of these morning recovery conversations with me. Go back to April the 1st of 2020. If you want to see my journey, my transparency as I survived and was in recovery from COVID-19, go back to December the 3rd of 2020, and you will see the transformation of suffering with COVID-19 to what you see before you this morning. This is my mask that I wear because I took all the other masks off. Those other masks that I've been wearing for years, and through the help of the 12-step program, I dismantled those masks one at a time. And as a result of contracting and surviving COVID-19, I wear the mask that's going to save my life. The makeup that you see gives homage to my culture. My hair is of my crown because I've learned I come from a lineage of kings and queens. And these are my culture, my tradition, my heritage, not to please you or anybody else, but to give homage. And surviving COVID-19 helped me to realize how important my culture, my heritage, my traditions are. And guess what? You should feel the same way about you, your family members, your culture, your heritage, right? Because this COVID-19 can wipe out populations, cultures like we haven't experienced for years. And it's only going to get worse before it gets better. They say that close to 26 million human beings have been infected one way, shape, or form with COVID-19. And we are about to reach the 500,000 who have died from COVID-19. Now, these are just the statistics that are reported. Can you multiply that 2 or 3 times the more? So we are in something that we have never experienced during this particular lifetime of ours. This is not the first pandemic man has been presented with, and it won't be the last. However, with this pandemic, based on what Dr. James T. Allison wrote in Psychology Today, we can help become a part of the solution to stop the perpetuation of COVID-19. Do you want to be a part of the solution, or do you want to contribute to the millions that are infected, the millions that are infecting family members and others? In other words, do you still want to be a part of the problem? Well, I am leading by example, putting on the mask that will save my life. I'm here in my studio by myself, but in a 12-step program, we talk about attraction rather than promotion. And so I wanted to meet you every morning with a mask on. If I see you in public, I hope you have a mask on, because I'm going to have my mask on. I didn't feel that way before I contracted COVID-19. I was defiant. I was rebellious. I was egotistical. Yes, I was stubborn, prideful. I wanted to look cute. I wanted to look fabulous. No, I wanted to die. But having contracted and survived COVID-19 through the 12-step program that I've had for 30 plus years, now I'm applying to me and sharing it with you. So we do recover. We can be a part of the solution if you ask yourself this question. Are you in the prevention mode of COVID-19? Are you in the intervention mode of COVID-19? Or are you in the restoration mode of COVID-19? Are you being proactive regarding COVID-19? Or are you being reactive with COVID-19? Are you being yet inactive with COVID-19? Or as a result of these 12-step programs, are you now being responsible for COVID-19? That's why we're having these conversations. As long as God, my creator, breathe life into me, wake me up every morning, one day at a time, and why we have to relish in the present. We are breathing this present moment. We don't know how long we will be breathing. And if I didn't get in touch with anything else of contracting and surviving COVID-19, is that I can breathe to my fullest capacity. But I couldn't, in spite of the evidence. I was in denial. I could not take a deep breath. I could not smell. I could not taste. And I did not listen to the simple suggestions that were offered to combat and prevent me from getting COVID-19, as well as infecting members of my family as young as 2 years old to 78. Would you want to be responsible for your own death? Would you want to be responsible for the death of your loved ones? Would you want to be responsible for the death of anyone? Well, hopefully you get to listen to these conversations that we're having as I present to you my experience, strength, and hope and wisdom of applying the 12 steps to COVID-19 and applying them in a way that shares my lack of wisdom, my decisions and my choices that were bad, that were insane regarding COVID-19. Yes. So therefore, I know that you and I and any others who have contracted it or survived it or have prevent from getting it, that we all share our experience, strength, hope, wisdom, lack of wisdom, choices, decisions, both bad and good, on how we can stop the perpetuation of COVID-19. Similar to Alcoholics Anonymous, utilizing that first step where we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. Now we are substituting the area of focus to say we admitted we were powerless over COVID-19, that our lives is, are, or were unmanageable as a result of this COVID-19 pandemic. The other resource that I use to help break down these steps is Jason Waller, JASON And I've been using his simplistic breakdown, questions, outline, summary, synopsis of how he utilizes other resources coupled with his own experience, strength, hope, and wisdom as a person in recovery from alcoholism and addiction. And so those are the two resources that I suggest you look up, you do your research yourself, and apply what you have read and listen to what you are reading over and over and over again until such time that the 12 steps presented in its simplest form, right, that are spiritual in nature, will challenge your present attitudes, ideas, and behaviors, and ask you to do an inventory of those attitudes, ideas, and behaviors as to where they were started and where they were formulated. And so when we are challenged through the 12 steps to go back in our history, by doing our inventory, we will see that those attitudes, ideas, and behaviors were destructive, became character defects, and now that we are applying them to COVID-19, can kill us, can kill our loved ones, can kill others. And these 12 spiritual principles can help challenge those attitudes, ideas, and behaviors, create a spiritual transformation that will generate a psychic change, as Dr. Carl Jung and Dr. Bob and our co-founder Bill W. said. We as alcoholics need a psychic change. And guess what? We as a human race combating this COVID-19, we need a psychic change. We need to look at our attitudes, ideas, and behaviors. We can be a part of the solution and not a part of the problem. Yes, we can. And so there is a solution. They are in the 12 steps that are spiritual in nature. We have to come from a spiritual angle in order to deal with this physical journey and dealing with COVID-19. So I thank my God for waking me up this morning, breathing life into me, demonstrating that I can wear my mask, I can wash my hands. You better believe I am social distancing. I am not going any longer to family gathering, birthday parties, public places where I don't need to go just for the sake of having fun. Oh, no, no, no. In recovery of Alcoholics Anonymous, we ask a question: do you want to save your behind or do you want to save your face? And I choose to save my behind from COVID-19. And I pray that you feel the same way. But if you don't, that's why a moment of silence for the whole entire human race. I'm going to take off my mask now because I want us to toast to the solution of applying these 12 steps to COVID-19 and to share my cup of my 2-year-old grandson who contracted and survived COVID-19. I would not be holding this cup that he gave me for Christmas had we both not survived COVID-19. So every moment is precious. Every second is precious. Every moment that we can breathe, we can smell, we can taste, we can swallow, we can hear, we can listen. Here's to the 12 steps. being applied to COVID-19. All right, so now that I have taken off my mask for a minute to have this conversation with you, I'm going to put on my glasses and we are going to continue to discuss, break down, and outline the 12 recovery principles. We are now on recovery principle number 4. But like anything else, I want to be able to present to you what the 12 steps are, okay? And so the 12 steps derived from Alcoholics Anonymous, that every other area of focus of groups like Gamblers Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, all of them use the same recovery principles, and here they are listed before we get into recovery principle number 4, okay? And so I'm going to share with you that the first one says, we admitted we were powerless over COVID-19, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And sanity only means soundness of mind regarding COVID-19. Recovery principle number 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him regarding COVID-19. 4, made a searching and fearless more inventory of ourselves regarding COVID-19. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs regarding COVID-19. Were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character regarding COVID-19. I know it says something else and I have to make that change, but I also want to share with you the remaining slides of 7 through 12, okay? And they are: humbly ask him to remove our shortcomings regarding COVID-19. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all regarding COVID-19. Number 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure others, which would injure them or others regarding COVID-19. 10, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it regarding COVID-19. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only for knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out regarding COVID-19. And 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to others regarding COVID-19 and practice these principles in all our affairs. The reason why I emphasize at the end of each step regarding COVID-19, we are changing the area of focus from alcohol, gambling, workaholics, sex anonymous, all that, and applying it directly to COVID-19. This way, we can challenge our existing attitudes, ideas, and behaviors, apply these steps to create that spiritual transformation, to bring about that psychic change in order for us to adopt and practice new attitudes, ideas, and behaviors, better decisions and choices, so that we don't have to succumb to the impact, the devastating outcomes, fatalities of COVID-19. So again, COVID-19 is the focus of applying these steps that are spiritual in nature, because obviously, like the researchers have said, people are not getting it. They don't care. Some people just think this a hoax and this, and that. But guess what? In our recovery process, of Alcoholics Anonymous, they also say some of us must die in order for some of us to live. Some of us must die regarding alcoholism, because they say that there are some who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves, that they are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. So my question to you, are you constitutionally incapable of being honest with what's going on with COVID-19? Huh? Are you not at fault? Were you born that way? In spite of the evidence, in spite of the experiences, in spite of the statistics, the data, huh? Ones close to you, ones that you know, are you still constitutionally incapable of being honest that this COVID-19 is real, and being honest that there is something I can do, you can do, we can do, individually and collectively? So if not, others will continue to die regarding this COVID-19, because some of us are still taking it for granted. Some of us still have that nonchalant, invincible attitude. Some of us are still defiant, rebellious, stubborn, egotistical, self-centered, selfish. Well, it's my hope that through these conversations, you will generate a psychic change so that you can be a part of the solution. So, in recovery, we know that repetition is important, because we never know when the new student will appear, and the new student is ready so that the teacher or teachers can appear. We don't know when a student is going to be ready who was once educated but now needs to go to a higher level so that the teacher or teachers could appear. So in other words, if we all remain students regarding this COVID-19, the teachers, the powers greater than us will appear and ask us, challenge us, right? To take the information and use it, apply it, and share it with others. And so for recovery principle number 1, I would suggest that you go back to my archives from December the 3rd, where I actually began to apply the 12 steps to COVID-19 specifically as a result of me contracting and surviving it, and be brought up to date. You and I have engaged in great detail regarding each and every step, using the template by Jason Waller, JASON WAHLER, a breakdown of the 12 steps. And so, because recovery principle number 4 is where it's the first tangible exercise that we do. But just let me recap the importance of the first 3 steps. They are the foundation for the remaining steps, but step 1 is the one that we have to take 100%. And if you want to see those questions to challenge your mindset, and you thinking that you got power over this and power over that, and you all this and you all that, well, guess what? You ain't, and neither am I. And so that first step, we admitted we were powerless over COVID-19, that our lives is or were unmanageable, and that there is a solution, okay? And that solution comes in recovery principle number 2, where we came to believe that a power, capital P, or powers, could restore us to soundness of mind. It says sanity, but those people think that when you say sanity, you're saying I'm crazy. No, sanity means soundness of mind. So step 2 came to believe that a power, capital P, our creator, let's cut through the chase, powers greater than us, right, can restore us to soundness of mind, to challenge our attitudes, ideas, and behaviors so that we can see for ourselves the importance of admitting our powerlessness, asking for help, and utilizing the help that's designed to save your life and the lives of your loved ones and the lives of your fellow human beings. Yes. And step 3 is made a decision to turn your will and your life over to the care of God as we understood him. It actually reads, made a decision to turn our lives over to, slow down, Edwina. I get hyped, right? I get excited about this. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. Okay, so in step 2, we recognize that there was a power, capital P, or powers greater than us to restore us to soundness of mind. And if we have been implementing and practicing and doing what they suggested, then why wouldn't we continue to make that decision to turn our will and our lives over to them? It's in the care, alcohol and drugs and all that stuff that I and millions of others have experienced and now in recovery for. We made decisions all day long to turn our will and our lives over to the drug dealer, right? The bartender. So why now in this COVID-19 pandemic can we make that decision to turn our will and our lives over to the suggestions of the CDC, whether they practice them or not? Turn them over to the experience of others who have succumbed to COVID-19, right? Listen to what they have to say. So if you want to know those who have lost loved ones, what it's like to be asked, what would you have done differently to save the life of your loved ones? That's a power greater than you. That's information, right? And they are, as a result of losing their loved ones, they made decisions to practice these simple suggestions. Now we are going to couple it with the 12 steps and have what we need to stop the perpetuation of COVID-19. Okay? So, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understand him. You want to say creator, you want to say higher power, but guess what? That power greater than you is not me and it's not you. All right, so now that we can spend more time on recovery principle number 4, where it says made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves, and this is part 3. So if you want to go back to the previous days to get the detailed overview of what we did regarding 1 and 2, recovery principle number 4, please do so. I'm going to mention what we have gone over. We talked about how step 4 is an opportunity for you and I to look at ourselves, where those attitudes, ideas, and behaviors that have been so destructive to our lives, they're known as character defects. Where were they formulated? Who contributed? What situations? What circumstances? Don't you want to know how you became who you became? Don't you want to know where your attitude of being prideful and egotistical? Don't you want to know why you're stubborn and self-centered? Don't you want to know why you're egotistical? Don't you want to know why you're stubborn and rebellious? Don't you want to know why you don't like people telling you what to do? Well, applying these 12 steps to COVID-19, particularly recovery principle number 4, we are going to pose some questions to you for you to get in touch with how honest, how open-minded, and how willing you are to look at you and to discover the things that need to be changed in order to save your life and the lives of your loved ones, okay? So we know in the 12-step program, it's not easy to look at yourself. A lot of people want to avoid looking at yourself. But guess what? Me being in recovery for almost 31 years, I need to find out what made me tick. I need to find out how I became. I want to know my patterns. I want to know my triggers. I want to know my buttons that people know how to push. Because in recovery, we learn not to give anything or anybody that much power ever again to make us go back to drinking. No. So we're going to apply the same step to COVID-19 and challenge ourselves, because to thy own self be true. So if you are really serious about being a part of the solution and stopping the perpetuation of COVID-19, starting with you, starting with your loved ones, leading by example, leading by attraction, applying these 12 steps can start the process, okay? Fear holds a lot of people back from doing their 4th step and from looking at themselves. But in recovery of AA, we've learned that no, fear can be used for a negative acronym of forget everything and run. And I'm saying it very nicely, because there's another word we use. We up everything and run. But in recovery, we learn to face everything and recover. Face everything and recover, face everything and rebuild, face everything and rejoice, face everything and be rejuvenated, face everything and be restored. That's what fear is. So we learn to walk through the fear, okay? So Jason Wallace talks about how much it is to gain to looking at yourself, right? He talks about how we break down step 4, right? He also talked about there are some inventories that are common to man that we need to look at. The moral inventory being, if you will, like sin, right? And so the 7 most deadly sins, we know what they are, right? And so with Jason Waller, he lists some of those areas, right, that we need to face and look at ourselves and determine, honestly, that we need a change. We need a psychic change, right? And so he listed some of our inventories that we can apply step 4 to and apply it to COVID-19. Fear, pride, resentments, anger, self-will, self-pity, guilt, shame, relationships, sex, abuse, right? Secrets, assets. So we also identify character assets as well as character defects, okay? And so he says in his next section, how do we go about being searching and fearless? And so just like anything else, if you lost something, just like if somebody's lost or somebody is missing, they put on a search warrant and they get everything and everybody to do that search. Well, we're asking you to do the same thing when it comes to this 4th step. A searching every nick and cranny, right? I showed you yesterday, yeah, this is a mask, but this mask has material. It has this, it has that. What is the material made of? What are the stitches made of? We are dissecting this mask, right? And there's information, and goes back to the concept of this mask. The formulation. So when we talk about searching and fearless, we're talking about examining this mask like what? Okay? Now we're talking about areas of our lives that has caused us to have those attitudes, ideas, and behaviors that are destructive to our character. Okay? And so he starts out with the biggie called resentment. Now, when we think about applying resentment to COVID-19, I shared yesterday how many of us, a lot of us, even children, don't like to be told what to do, right? And so the older you get and the more people try to be an authoritative figure in your life, we rebel, we become defiant. Who are you to tell me what to do, right? And so we get resentments against them. And so most of us have resentments against the CDC. We have resentments against the data, the statistics. How dare y'all tell me what to do? How dare y'all tell me who to go around? How dare you tell me to wear a mask, wash my hands? Who are you? And so we need to address that resentment that we have against those powers and power greater than us that can restore us to sanity, soundness of mind. Why are you resentful? Some people will say, is something wrong with you? No, that's the wrong question. We learn in Alcoholics Anonymous, the question should be, what happened to you for you to develop and adapt and practice those attitudes, ideas, and behaviors that you knowingly, that you know are destructive to you. But you in denial. I'm in denial, right? So he starts off with the first one of being resentful. Okay, it's called resentment. All right, so we talked about how resentment should be the first on the list. When I did my 4th step in recovery for Alcoholics Anonymous, again, I had 5 columns, right? What was the character defect? It was resentment. The next column was, who was I resentful against, right? What feelings, the 3rd column, did it generate in me? How did it affect me, right? The 4th column, says, what was my reaction to it? And the 5th column is, what part did I play in it? And so when I look at applying COVID-19 with resentment, I had a resentment. I had a resentment against who? Those CDC people, right? About this COVID-19. What feelings did it generate in me? Well, who are they? They don't know. It's out there. It won't happen to me. How dare they tell me, what to do, what to wear, how often to wash my hands, Feelings of like what? I ain't listening to you. Why? Feelings of being invincible. It won't happen to me, right? Right? And so what were my actions as a result of having a resentment against COVID-19, CDC's making these suggestions, the feelings that it generated? So my rebellious, defiant nature did not wear the mask or wore them when I wanted to, did not wash my hands consistently, washed them when I wanted to, right? Didn't social distance, right? Went to a family gather, went to a family party, went to a family birthday, Those are the actions as a result of me having a resentment against somebody trying to help save my life. And what part did I play in it? I consciously made those decisions. I subjected my family to those COVID-19. I placed my grandchildren in harm. I contributed to contracting COVID-19 and affecting my loved ones. That's the part I played in it. So now you see, right? Okay, you got an example now? All right, so let's go to the questions posed by Jason Waller, all right? And I'm going to read the questions first. And then we're going to go back and go over them in detail, okay? Just to give you an overview of some of the questions that are going to be posed to you, because some people like to be prepared. I like shooting from the hip, right? But it ain't about me, it's about us, okay? So these are the questions that are posed by Jason Waller's template on recovery principle number 4. So if you want to extract them from the website, you can follow me. You can write them in your journal. Please take notes, Please take this seriously, Please. It can save your life. All right. So these are the questions that we are going to read in their entirety. And then we're going to go back and have an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert, right? While we look at these questions as an opportunity to challenge our existing mindset, to challenge our existing attitudes, ideas, and behaviors regarding COVID-19. And to see if there are any changes that are needed, if we are honest. And the 3 indispensable principles in recovery are honesty for the H, open-mindedness for the O, and W for willingness, the how it works. So if you are If you want to be totally transformed, if you want to achieve that spiritual transformation, then we recommend that you be honest from the very start. Honest to thy own self, be true. This is for you, this is for me. And if each of us do this, we will see where we need help. We will see that we don't have power over this COVID-19. We will see how our lives are unmanageable in all areas of our lives. And we will see that we need help. And you become open-minded to receive the help that's available, providing you are honest. And once you are open-minded and you see and you listen to all the evidence, to all the tangible experiences and all of that, listen, not hear, then you should and could become willing to apply the help that you asked for, designed to save your life and the lives of loved ones. Okay? All right, so question number 1 says, what people, places, or things do you resent, and what led to those resentments regarding COVID-19? How did your behavior contribute to your resentment regarding COVID-19? How have your resentments affected your life, your relationships with others, and yourself regarding COVID-19? Who or what do you fear and why regarding COVID-19? How do you respond destructively or negatively to your fears regarding COVID-19? Who or what do you feel ashamed or guilty about regarding COVID-19? What feelings do you have the most trouble allowing yourself to feel, and how do you act out regarding COVID-19? How have your fears and resentments affected your friendships and your family, work, and romantic relationships regarding COVID-19? Now, we're just talking in the area of resentments, right? Okay. Have you compulsively sought after crutches? It says sex here, right? Regarding COVID-19. Have you used these crutches to try to fill a spiritual void or isolation or loneliness regarding COVID-19, right? Have any of your crutches that you practice hurt other people or yourself regarding COVID-19? What do healthy relationships look like to you regarding COVID-19? Are these secrets that you are not willing to tell that you have about COVID-19, right? That you haven't told anyone or written about in this COVID-19 pandemic? So those are the questions that we are going to apply to the first inventory of being and having resentments. Okay, so let's look at the very first one where it says, what people, places, or things do you resent, and what led to those resentments? Okay, so in my 4-step work and in the 12-step program of Alcoholics Anonymous, we learn that if resentment is at the top of the list, and now I recognize that my secrets, my resentments only hurt me, right? But they can also hurt others. So they're asking us, and we're changing the area of focus to COVID-19. What people, places, or things do you resent, and what led to those resentments? So let's take the first part of the question, okay? What people, places, or things do you resent? People. I resent the CDC. I resent the Fauci's and the Browns and the medical field, and I resent them because they trying to tell me how to live my life. They're trying to tell me where I can go, where I can't go. They are trying to tell me that as a result of this COVID-19, I had to lose my job. I can't put food on the table. I don't have any money. So you doggone right. I am resentful against those people. Yes. Because of this COVID-19, my life is unmanageable, and I resent whoever started this COVID-19. I resent that the authorities, the leaders didn't jump on this thing earlier. I resent those that are in charge. I resent a lot of people regarding this COVID-19. Yes, I do. Can't go nowhere, can't do this, can't do that, wear this, wear that, watch this, watch that. Don't go see loved ones, right? Don't stay around all this. Oh, yes. So those people I have resentments against. Places. Yes. Places. Okay. Regarding this COVID-19, why isn't everybody conforming to these suggestions that they give to these businesses, right? These offices, these employers? Why isn't everybody doing that? Because you're telling me that I can contract this COVID-19 by going to different places? I got a resentment against that too. Against those places. How dare they not keep a place clean? How dare they not wipe after people? Why dare? And what resentments do you have against things? Things. Yes. The fact that I got to wear this mask. Yeah. See my lipstick all on there, right? That is disgusting. I had the sanitizer. It smells like alcohol, man. Every time I use that, right? And I ain't gonna use that water to wash my hands for 20 seconds. Man, that's too long. I got things to do. So you get my drift? Only you can answer the question, what people, places, or things regarding COVID-19 do you have resentments against? Like in our 12-step program, now that I recognize that I have these resentments against these people, places, and things, the next part of the question is, what led to those resentments? Sort of like the 12-step program. Yes, I went to people, places, and things to get high. As a prostitute, I went to people, places, and things to turn tricks, right? As a drug addict, I went to people, places, and things to get my thing on. The end result was the drinking. The end result was the drug. The end result was that trick. But what led? What led? What was I going through? What was I feeling? What was I thinking that led me to start drinking, to lead me to start prostituting, to lead me to start drugging? What led me to those things, people and places? Well, the same thing can be applied to COVID-19. What led me to those resentments? So if I use my own experience, my own wisdom or lack of wisdom, my own decisions or choices, both good and bad, I'll share with you so that you can see and hear the example of how to apply your answers to this question. I identified the people, right? The CDCs and the researchers and this and that. I talked about having resentment against these places, can't go here, can't go there, right? And the things of wearing this and washing that and those hand sanitizers, right? But what led me to those resentments? And if I am honest with myself, I would have to say, they trying to tell me how to live my life. They don't know me. I'm invincible. It won't happen to me. What led to those resentments? They trying to infiltrate my personal life. They are limiting me from doing this and limiting me from doing that. They are stopping me from getting a job or working. They are stopping me from feeding my family. They are stopping me from going out the freaking door. That's what led to these resentments. This COVID-19 pandemic. So guess what? I didn't take them seriously either. I was defiant. I was rebellious. I'm not listening. Yeah, for sure, I may wear my mask, but was it really a psychic change? Hell no. No, it was not. I mean, at first I felt that, but that didn't last long. Because anytime, we are asked to do something, particularly in a 12-step program, they say if we do something for 90 days, you can create a habit, right? And so even though I had this information, it was something about covering up my face, washing my hands, can't go here, can't do that. No, I ain't doing that. I may tell you I'm doing it, but be lying. And what good is that? To thy own self be true. And that's why I can sit up here and tell you I contributed to me contracting COVID-19. Yes, I did. I was not consistent. I was not obedient because I took it for granted. What led me to those resentments? Me. My attitudes, my ideas, my behaviors, my actions, my decisions, my choices. I want to do what Edwina want to do. I want to self-will it. But guess what? I am not alone in this. They say no man is an Allen. So I'm resentful against these people, places, and things regarding this COVID-19 because it confines me. It limits me. They're trying to tell me what to do. But this is the hit to save your life. So it's something about doing these steps. And we just got to question number one, because we have to identify with the resentment that we are feeling against this COVID-19 pandemic and all of its associated people, places, and things. We have to deal with that. We have to admit that in order for us to go on. So I have been restored to sanity. I now see the importance of looking at my attitudes, ideas, and behaviors as a result of contracting and yet surviving COVID-19. So it is my obligation, it is my honor, it is my duty, it is my responsibility to tell you what I did wrong to contract COVID-19 as well as affect my grandchildren and other family members. Okay. Woo. Well, it's that time now. And if it's God's will that he breathes life into you tomorrow and wakes you up and wakes me up, we will be reunited for day 56 as we continue recovery principle number 4. Right? made a searching and fearless more inventory of ourselves. Didn't you like how we did the first question? And we got a whole lot more to do. But it's important, it's crucial to get to the exact nature of those attitudes, ideas, and behaviors, choices, and actions that are detrimental to us living and continue to have our families in our lives. So, are you in the prevention mode of COVID-19, intervention, or restoration mode? Are you proactive, reactive, inactive, or are you responsible regarding COVID-19? Time will tell, won't it? So until we meet again, be safe. Be safe. Be safe.